Here we go. I haven't done much today, but that doesn't mean I haven't done something important. So recap of what I did yesterday was this. I did this. I started using highlights, and I used a Sharpie as the outliner, and it still bled quite a good amount. So today, I just did another character sketch, very simple, and I wanted to see how well I could manage the bleeding. Very simply, this was just basically, this had a couple of different uses. So first of all was the lighting and shading. So like highlights, I tried to go pretty apeshit with the highlights, which seemed to work pretty well, I think. Like the highlights work really well here, for example. I like how well they look. They're not smooth, but I think I'm getting the general gist of it. The shading, I think, looks pretty nice as well. Like, I didn't go too overboard with the shading. Like, I think it looks the nicest up here on the hammer. But other than that, the main issue is the bleeding. I don't know how to stop the bleeding. It wasn't too bad here. I decided to try and clean it up with the Colorless Blender. I decided to experiment, just going over it with the Colorless Blender, and that clearly didn't work. It wasn't too bad up here, and then I went over it with the Colorless Blender, and it got worse. So I decided just to stop doing that. So I don't know how to stop it bleeding. It's not as bad. It's getting better, but I don't really know how to stop it bleeding. So I found, if I just go and grab my markers, I just threw off my bed like an absolute idiot. Right. So, basically, I found a pretty good method that seems to stop it bleeding a substantial amount, but I just need to be a little more generous with it. So, for example, I'm going to use this blue as an example because I use this blue here. Up here, sorry. So, basically, first of all, chisel tip is out. If the chisel tip basically touches any of this, it bleeds. However, I found that there is a thing you can do with this. So I'm going to get the black marker as well, as a demonstration. So, if we just draw a line, here, and this will be our black line, and we'll have another one here, and I'll try and demonstrate the difference here. Alright, so as you can see, we've got these two lines here, and as you can see, they're already kind of starting to bleed, which is an issue. So, like, when I'm just drawing simple lines like this, quick lines don't bleed, because the ink doesn't linger. Whereas these sort of ones that are, like, thicker lines that build up, as you can see, like, near the end, they start to bleed quite badly. So, if I, go and grab this real quick. I'm also going to grab a little lighter blue as well, so I can show you how it works with blending. So with this, what I found is if you basically go and you color around here, if you color up to the line like this, right, like this, you color up to the line, make sure it's nice and colored in. See, look, that's pretty good. And then if we go down here, and we just do this other technique that I have, which is basically just being really fast with it, getting only up to the bit of the line you actually need to be at, and basically feathering the ever-loving shit out of it. Alright? Now, it's a little hard to see on here, but it's starting to bleed a little bit. Now, what it didn't really help was that this, I drew a really thick line. I thought it would work a bit better than this, but you can kind of see, up here, the bleeding happened. The bleed from down here was, already here, annoyingly. So I'll draw, a thinner line for this one. Alright, so we'll draw a thin line, and we'll draw a thin line. Okay, because that's the line thickness over there. Alright, so we'll do the slower build-up one here, where I'm just kind of carefully go through it like this. Make it nice and built up. And then down here, have the more erratic, feathery one. Like that, right? Now, immediately, look, you can see this is starting to bleed, right? You can see this is starting to get, a lot of quite bumpy and quite irregular. Whereas this one is pretty much still how it was. Like, you can see, like, right here it's starting to almost look like it's tearing at the edge, whereas this one, like, you can see it's still got a lot of the straight textured edges. And that really does suck, because especially when it comes to blending. Let me show you this, because this is where it all falls apart, alright? Because, like, if you notice, like, these places where there's large blocks of color, I pointed this out yesterday with this one, places where there are large blocks of color, like over here, for example, this is fine. Like, there's never anything here. It's always at things like joints and where there's blending, right? That's where all these things start taking place. So, like, let me also grab my black again. I'm going to draw a corner. That's not a black effect. Actually, no, that's fine though, because this still demonstrates my point. Look, I drew a corner here, and it's still bleeding. It bleeds immediately, right? So if you draw a corner like that, right, it still bleeds, because, like, drawing sharp corners in alcohol marker is really hard, okay, without making it bleed. And I think that's pretty much the only way to do it. So basically you have to go from top, alright, you have to go from, like, top down, and then from the bottom go across, right? That seems like, right there, see, look, it doesn't bleed, whereas all these other ones have. But this is where we also need to be careful, because even though this hasn't bled, if I start coloring in around here, see, look, it already started bleeding. Already. And that's one of the problems with this. Blending as well. So let me just draw a little, not a corner, just, you know, like a little curve. We'll draw a nice little curve. I fuck up right at the end. Okay, actually no, that's pretty good, because then we start off nice and thin, and we go to a thicker line, right? So got a little bit of curve action here, and we'll start off with a lighter color, all right? And we'll blend from, and this will be like the edge, like over here, right? It'll be like a dark corner, all right? So we'll start off just with putting down our base layer of blue, like this. All right. Like that. All right. Very simple. And I will go our darker blue, and we'll go around the edge like this. Being careful, make sure it's nice and sharp, and then we'll blend it together with the original blue. Okay, that looks good. Looks good. See, look, there you go. Nice blending blue right there. All right. And yeah, this is actually pretty. This is at first I thought it would be a poor example, but I can see now it's actually starting to react. Okay, so like, look up here where it's thinner, especially at the edge where it was like already really thick with ink. The blending is sort of like, I don't really know what the word is for it. Like, it's slightly bled through on this. And this is, bear in mind, this was a thick line. This was twice as thick as this was. So while I'm explaining this, I'm going to like just draw a thin line and do a little bit more blending over here, right? So, basically the main problem is, like, when you're doing cartoons and these sorts of characters, you don't want to have really thick lines unless that's your style, but it's not mine. My style is more, it tends to be like thinner sort of lines. So if I want to have good blending with my thinner lines, it's not going to work. Look, here we go. Perfect example right here. Perfect example. Look at this. Look at that bleed, all right? And bear in mind, I did the same thing over here that I did over there. It's just this line was slightly thinner, right? This is what's happening up there. And see, look, with this little experimentation, it seems that thicker lines work better. But, like, what the fuck? Like, why this? Why does this happen? It sucks because, like, this is the kind of line thickness I want. Just one line, like that. This sort of, like, nice, thin lines. These are the kind of lines I want. But I'm being restricted to having to just do these, like, thicker outlines. Like, I don't want to have to, like, draw, like, I don't know, the hood. So, like, this is, like, the hood, right? That would be like a really shoddily drawn one, but it's the hood nonetheless. Like, I'll have to draw it quite thick. Like this, right? To sort of like make up for the fact that it's got a good amount of ink in it. Like that. And then you would need to put on like a much larger eye. But look at that. Look at that bleed. So even this doesn't fix it. And that sucks so badly. Because, like, with it, like, around the hood and stuff where it's going to be thick. So I think maybe the best idea is to just have a slightly thicker outline around the edge. So, like, around here, like, have a thicker outline, but then on the inside try and make it thinner. But, like, even here, like, see, look, right here, it doesn't work very well. So, I don't know. I think tomorrow I'll try with these thicker outlines around the edge. So, like, I would kind of do it, like, if I were to just very quickly draw this hood one more time. Like that. Okay, so I'd probably have to, like, put a thicker outline around here. Up and around here. Down here. Like that. And then maybe a slightly thicker outline around here. But not much, but, like, have this be the main thick one. So, like, maybe, like, have this be, like, 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point. Alright. Eye, hood, and flick. Like that. Right. So there you go. That's what I did today. This is a long one, but I just wanted to explain because, like I said last time, it's one picture, but you learn so much from it that it makes sense as to why, like, it's only one picture. Because with this one picture, I learned so much. I learned, first of all, I learned how much this bleeds, like when I'm trying to do highlights. More importantly, I learned different techniques that work pretty well. So yeah, I'm gonna try and funnel this into. I'm most likely going to try and do this one tomorrow because I fucked this up majorly the first time, and I think yellow could be a very good color to use for blacks and stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna try that tomorrow. So yeah.